The new president of Ghana be able to remind the West that he is a strong leader and not a puppet. John Mahama's triumph isn't just about Ghana. It has to do with something far more important. Be skeptical if you believe that Africa will simply let the West make all the decisions. The change in Ghana under Mahama's leadership is akin to a huge earthquake that marks the end of a period in which Western interests take precedence over African concerns. Ghana's foreign policy is not the only issue at hand. It's about Africa taking a seat at the international table and rejecting decades of exploitation. However, what is Mahama doing that is different? Let's investigate. Mahama won a fight for Ghana's soul, not just a presidential election. This has to do with financial autonomy. For far too long, foreign interests have drained Ghana dry. Foreign control, foreign businesses, and foreign loans. However, Mahama, he's had enough. He has a plan, and it involves defying Western directives. Let's dissect it. One of Africa's most economically reliant countries, Ghana depends on the West for loans, development support, and foreign aid. However, that structure has only served to maintain Ghana's debt and dependency cycle. Mahama is changing the course of events. He is discussing true self-sufficiency. It's not only about supporting a malfunctioning system or keeping the lights on. The goal is to establish a sustainable economy that is run by and for Ghanaians. John Mahama, Ghana's new president, reportedly said, and I quote, "In order to reset our country and put it back on track as the Black Star of Africa, we will be implementing significant governance reforms and occasionally taking drastic steps over the course of the next 4 years. My dear brothers and sisters, the trip will not be easy because our beloved country has fallen into an abyss due to the outgoing regime. But we're committed to collaborating with you to create the Ghana we desire, and I have no doubt that we will prevail in the conflict. We plan to collaborate in order to rebuild the damaged trust in our political and governmental structures. The goal is to create a nation that can support itself without assistance from outside sources. Ghana cannot prosper if it keeps turning to the West for answers. Mahama is aware of this. He has a vision for indigenous solutions that promote local industry, eliminate middlemen, and give Ghanaian companies the upper hand. His goals are to increase agricultural production, upgrade infrastructure, and make investments in technology and education. He isn't only doing it for Ghana. Other African countries can learn from Mahama's leadership style. It's time to start taking action at home and to cease pleading with the West for assistance. However, what steps does Mahama plan to take to avoid making the same mistake of depending too much on Western investment? How does Ghana progress in the absence of outside influence? The solution is straightforward: unity. Building an empire is more important than focusing on a single nation. Ghana is at the forefront of this movement. Ghana is not fighting this battle by itself. The country has been fighting alongside other African nations that have similar goals for decades. Africa as a whole, free from foreign domination. Mahama has a clear vision. Africa must no longer rely entirely on the West. Countries from Burkina Faso to Mali are uniting in their opposition to neo-imperialism.
Welcome to African Spotlight 24, your premier source for news and current affairs from across the continent. We're glad you're here. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe, like, and turn on notification to stay up to date with the latest news and analysis. Your support helps us reach more people. Disclaimer: the content of this video is based on credible, publicly available information and is intended for educational, analytical, and informational purposes only. African Spotlight 24 does not promote hate, violence, misinformation, or political unrest. Our goal is to deliver thoughtful insights, highlight local voices, and encourage informed conversations throughout Africa.
Breaking. The president of Ghana just stood on the global stage and did something no African leader has dared in decades. He called out the United States. Directly. And not just any president. He called out Donald Trump by name, demanding the full withdrawal of U.S. military forces from Ghanaian soil. The global response? Shock, awe, and a seismic shift in Africa's diplomatic tone. What you're about to hear could redefine West Africa's relationship with Washington forever. This isn't just a speech. It's a declaration of sovereignty, of independence, and of resistance. Subscribe now where Africa speaks for itself. In a fiery address to the nation, President John Dramani Mahama took the mic with a calm, stern voice. But what he delivered hit like thunder. His words were clear. Ghana will no longer serve as a pawn in foreign military agendas. We are a sovereign people, and we will determine who enters, stays, and operates within our borders. He wasn't vague. He wasn't diplomatic. He named names. He addressed the Trump-era deal signed under the 2018 Defense Cooperation Agreement, a deal that gave the U.S. nearly unregulated access to military facilities, communication lines, and even Ghana's airspace. Mahama called that deal an abandonment of Ghana's dignity and declared that within 90 days, all U.S. military personnel operating under that framework must prepare to exit the country. Let's backtrack. Most Ghanaians were never fully briefed on the scale of U.S. military presence in their country. In 2018, under President Akufo-Addo, Ghana signed a controversial pact granting free access to military facilities, no taxes or fees for U.S. contractors, immunity from Ghanaian laws, permission to build a U.S.-only military base. Many Ghanaians saw this as neo-colonialism reborn, handing over sovereign land to a superpower with unclear motives. But under Mahama's leadership, that silent agreement is now a roaring scandal. We will not be intimidated by dollars. We will not exchange our sovereignty for aid. Ghana belongs to Ghanaians, not Washington, Mahama proclaimed. The international reaction? Explosive. In the U.S., mainstream media barely covered it. But diplomatic cables were flying. Pentagon officials reportedly held an emergency meeting after Mahama's speech aired on national and Pan-African networks. The EU responded with concern. France, still stinging from its military expulsion from Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, offered no official comment. But the African street erupted in applause. From Accra to Bamako, Lagos to Kampala, hashtags like hashtag Africa for Africans, hashtag Ghana Rises, and hashtag Troops Out Now began trending. For many across Africa, this was more than a speech. It was a symbol of what post-colonial resistance looks like in the 21st century. President Mahama has long warned of creeping neo-colonial influence, especially through defense and economic deals cloaked in diplomacy. His latest decision was reportedly prompted by classified reports showing surveillance operations conducted without Ghanaian oversight, local protests being monitored by foreign agents, covert expansion of U.S. military infrastructure in northern Ghana, near Sahel borders. In Mahama's view, Ghana was being slowly turned into a launchpad for American interests in West Africa, especially as instability spreads in the Sahel. And if Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali can kick out French troops, why should Ghana remain silent? This moment isn't isolated. Across Africa, we are witnessing a continental shift. Mali expelled French troops and shut down foreign NGOs. Burkina Faso's Ibrahim Traoré has fully nationalized mining sectors and kicked out Western influence. Niger forced U.S. and French troops to leave. Uganda is reviewing all foreign military cooperation deals. Mahama's move is part of a larger Pan-African wave, one where sovereignty, not dependency, is the rallying cry. And the West is watching in fear, because a continent no longer under military or economic control is a continent that writes its own future. As expected, U.S. officials reacted with diplomatic ambiguity. No outright condemnation, no formal denial, just monitoring the situation. Privately, however, sources within the State Department say this could be a domino moment. Ghana is seen as a stable democracy, and if even Ghana is rejecting U.S. military presence, the rest of West Africa may follow. The U.S. Pentagon's AFRICOM strategy, once seen as a tool for counterterrorism, is now under intense scrutiny. Ghana is betting big, not just on politics, but on African self-sufficiency. Mahama's administration has already begun talks with regional allies, including Burkina Faso, Guinea, Algeria, South Africa, to create a continental security framework free from foreign military control. Economically, Ghana is seeking stronger trade ties with the AES alliance, the powerful bloc of anti-colonial West African states. And technologically, Ghana is investing in satellite surveillance and digital borders to reduce dependency on foreign intelligence networks. This is the beginning of a new African doctrine: security without subservience. Mahama's demand for U.S. troop withdrawal is more than a headline. It is a bold reassertion of African dignity in the global order. And while Trump may remain silent, the African people are not. They are watching, they are rising, and they are reclaiming their future. One sovereign decision at a time. If you believe in an Africa free from foreign domination, subscribe to African Spotlight 24 right now. Drop a comment. Should other African nations follow Ghana's lead? Like this video. Share it far and wide. Let the world know. Africa is not anyone's military playground.